Welcome to another edition of the KTTH Roundtable, where we talk about issues around a literal roundtable. I'll start with what is a bit of a scam in that the Senate Democrats this week decided, we are going to vote on the bill to rescind the vehicular pursuit ban, except it pretty much addresses nothing when it comes to the concerns, right? I mean, under this new law, it basically says if there is reasonable suspicion that a violent crime had occurred, you can go ahead and chase. That's not what the issue has been. The issue has been people are stealing cars, they're doing smash and grabs, they're committing non-violent crimes, and they know they can get away with it.
And you know what I have to wonder is the day before they got to that finish line and then rang the bell and said, yep, this is going to be a Senate bill. The day before, there was a drunk in a white Ford Explorer going the wrong way on I-5, and it screwed up I-5 from Fort Lewis all the way past Olympia. And I just got to wonder if someone found out, if that just highlighted the point that that was a pursuit that was called off. He heads on a truck, fire explosion. They both live. It's miraculous, but it screwed up traffic for the entire Olympia area for 10 hours.
Yeah, but really, let's talk about a week earlier. You have a guy who was driving 111 miles per hour, allegedly, over in Yakima County, ends up not pulling over after a Washington State trooper tries to 4 times. There was no DUI suspected at the time. He ends up crashing into a car, killing 2 young children.
Not a story in Seattle, isn't that crazy?
Not a story at all in
Didn't
Seattle. It was virtually ignored, except obviously for us talking about it. But this bill, this new bill, would not have stopped that.
No.
So what are we arguing here? And what's disingenuous about local coverage is they're going to pretend that this is a meaningful reform to a bill that clearly needs to be rescinded in its entirety. And it's not, and this is why, by the way, it's not going to get a whole bunch of Republican support unless something happens once it gets back and read it, because technically you can still make changes. I don't see them making changes.
No, and also what's really funny is the disconnect between public polling on this issue, which is only growing, support for reform or
it's not even reform, right? It's a repeal of the reform.
Is higher now than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Now that people have seen a year of this. So.
Okay, what do you got?
It turns out that Governor Jay Inslee is a bit of a seat cushion in that he retains the impression of the last person who sat on him. So in this case, 2 days ago, Wallingford sat on him, and he, in his surprise visit to Wallingford to Camp Unacceptable, the Ship Canal Bridge I-5 fentanyl camps, he never set foot near that camp. He stayed on the campus of John Stanford Middle School, but what luck. The point the parents have been making, which is it's not a block away, that's not even a block. He possibly, it may have changed his opinion about the speed, where a few days ago he was saying it might take months. He gets there. Now, all the times I've been there at 4 a.m., there's enough tents for 40 people, easy, so it's probably more. So magically, yesterday he announced that there's 70 housing units.
What?
And so what he's going to do by law, by the Boise decision, they have to offer you housing, and when you, in some drug-induced haze, say no.
They have to offer you shelter.
Shelter, yeah.
Not housing.
That's right.
But that's a big piece, because Jay Inslee and Democrats, especially with the King County Regional Homelessness Authority, they are only going to settle for homes, not for shelter
Yeah,
space.
that's not what the Boise finding says. It says shelter, a roof, a cot, whatever. The minute they say no, then they can enforce the actual law, which is called trespassing. So we'll just see. But isn't that a miracle that if he actually goes out and sees what he has wrought, then suddenly he wants answers.
It is sad that it takes Governor Jay Inslee to visit a location before he's willing to act. So hopefully he'll start visiting this show and listen to the roundtable and get a better sense of where he should stand on the issues. We'll see you next week.